Saturday night's main event, The Last Time Is Now, the farewell performance of one Juan China. And it's your boy Icon with a wrestling review for you. And although this match had three other matches on the card, it was really centered around, one particular match. And they did the right thing by having it close the show. Though I thought it was weird that he didn't grab the microphone and address the crowd. But anyway, it's your boy Icon. Like I said, once again, before we get started, hit the notification bell, like it or subscribe, check out my other videos, and let's get started. Because, the career, like me personally, when it comes to John Cena's career, I'm a word life John Cena fan. Like, I'm a doctor of thugonomics, like that's my era. Like, when John Cena was like, when he was wearing like the different colored basketball jerseys and like the baseball jerseys and the football jerseys, and he was cutting the rhymes and everything. And then he kind of like transitioned into like, into G.I. Joe, into like, into like a Captain America type. There was like the hard edge John Cena. And then they made the transition into him being like, like a super squeaky clean PG, the PG era John Cena. And I wasn't a fan of the PG John Cena. I mean, not for nothing, but me personally, I actually liked the heel turn. I was a fan of the John Cena heel turn because it was something different that we didn't get to see. He was a heel in the beginning when, when he was, the Dr. Thugonomics. Then once he turned babyface, he never went back. So it was nice to see him be a heel again during his heel run. And for the love of God, like after WrestleMania, when he came out and the fans were chanting, "John Cena sucks," I was entertained by that. I thought it was good. I thought it was good, but he doubled back, and then he went back to being the good guy again, and then he fought Cody. So here we are now. And I would not call him the GOAT. Like, for the love of God, hell no. I mean, Hulk Hogan he was considered like the greatest sports entertainer of all time. Like, it was Hulkamania, everybody running wild, brother. And Hulk wasn't the greatest wrestler like of all time, but he was the biggest sports entertainment box draw. And the thing with John Cena, like John Cena and Roman Reigns are kind of similar in the sense where they were forced on us until we eventually ended up liking them. And that goes to show you that in wrestling, in wrestling, as much as somebody doesn't like you, and like if the fans don't like you, but if the company pushes you, and while the company's pushing you, the fans resist you because they're just like, oh, you're the company pick. You're the guy that the company wants. We don't want you. We want somebody else. And they constantly boo you, boo you, boo you, and boo you. If you continue to force that person down our throats despite the fact that we don't want them, eventually we will learn to like them, and then we'll start to miss them when they're gone. And because the fans hated Roman Reigns, and when Roman Reigns was a babyface, they hated him. As soon as he turned heel, it was chants of "We want Roman." The fans hated John Cena for years. They booed John Cena for years. And as soon as he said he's retiring, now all of a sudden he's the GOAT. So it turns out like you're never going to get appreciated until you're gone. Like that's just like the cold hard facts. But again, it also shows that in wrestling history, despite the fans telling you they don't want something, if you give it to them and force it on them anyway, they'll eventually like grow to accept it. But I would not say that he's the GOAT. Did he surpass Hulk Hogan as far as like the greatest sports entertainer of all time? Yes. And I agree with what Gunther said when Gunther told him, he was like, John Cena, you may be the greatest sports entertainer, but I'm the greatest wrestler. And I'm just like, I agree with that. Like, that's facts coming from Gunther because, Gunther's that dude. And John Cena is like, I can admit that. If somebody was to say that John Cena is the greatest wrestler of all time, I'm going to be like, hold up. But I will give him that he is the greatest sports entertainer. And with that being said, it's time for some good old-fashioned wrestling as the show kicks off with Cody Rhodes versus Obafemi, the ruler. And it's interesting because they made a whole big thing about this particular show being based around the future of the business, the future of wrestling. So they have the WWE champion, Cody Rhodes, versus the NXT champion, Obafemi. If what we're saying is true, and if this whole thing is about the future, and if it's about the next generation and building the new generation of superstars, Obafemi should have defeated Cody Rhodes in this match, especially because it was non-title, and nobody would lose anything if Oba would have gone over in victory. And then for the love of God, the way NXT is shot and the way the main roster is shot is two completely different things, especially because of the arena size. Because NXT is shot in smaller arenas, the main roster is shot in obviously bigger venues, bigger arenas. I mean, I know Obafemi was a big boy. I did not realize how big Obafemi actually is as a human being until he was standing next to Cody Rhodes. Jesus Christ. Even in the after show, one of the announcers on the after show asked Triple H, he was just like, now that we've seen Obafemi like up close and in person, he told Triple H, he's like, yo, you got to give us Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Like Brock Lesnar at some point. And I'm like, we all feel this motherfucker is huge. He came out, you know, and he has that presence, like that dominant presence, the ruler. And the fans knew him. It's not because they like to say like, oh, not everybody watches NXT, which is true. Not everybody does watch NXT. So sometimes WWE feels like when they call guys up from NXT to the main roster, they're just like, oh, we have to introduce them to the main roster audience because the people aren't going to know them. Bullshit, because Trick Williams made an appearance one time on SmackDown and the fans started chanting, whoop that trick. When Obafemi came out, the audience was going, ooh, dun, dun, who? I'm like, they know who Obafemi is. Like certain people, even if you're like a casual fan of NXT or whatever, certain people, you know who they are. And Obafemi was one of those people. And, you know, with that being said, it was a good match. Like, Oba, he asserted his dominance and, like, his physical presence. You know, Cody tried a lot of his moves, and the shits didn't work. You know, when he does the thing where the guy goes for the back body drop, and then Cody drops down and then, like, chops him in the throat, you know, like the move that Goldust used to do. You know, Oba caught him by the throat, and he was just like, He's like, no, Cody Rhodes, it doesn't happen here. And he should have won. But, you know, but they needed an out. They needed an out to protect both people. And the out that we got was Drew McIntyre. You know, you knew Drew was going to show up at some point. He came in, and he didn't even like. See, I thought Drew was going to distract Cody, and then Obafemi was going to hit a fall from grace and pick up a victory, but then go to Drew and be like, I did not need your help with a victory. But instead, Drew just got in the ring and just started beating up on Cody, and then Oba got disqualified. And then after that, then Cody started beating up on Drew, then Oba beat up on Drew, then Drew ran for the hills. You know, Cody got busted too. Like Oba busted Cody's like eardrum open. Like Cody was like bleeding from the ear and like bleeding from the nose and everything. And, you know, but he raised Oba's hand in victory, you know, like in victory. So, you know, it's a sign of respect there. The people got to see the ruler. They got to see Obafemi, because Obafemi's not going to keep the NXT title that much longer. He's going to get called up to the main roster. This was his introduction to the main roster, and I think everybody is like in awe of what they saw, and people see big things from him. So I look forward to that. Like I definitely look forward to him getting called up to the main roster. At some point, SmackDown's going to become the new NXT. Like, let's just be honest. But like I said, good match, good opening match, and we're moving on to the next match of Saturday night's main event. Now, for the next match, I'm really sorry to say this too, because I'm a huge fan of women's wrestling, and I like Bayley. Her new character persona is like 50-50 on me, but I don't hate Bayley as a talent. I love Lyra Valkyria. Like, I love me some Lyra Valkyria. Like, that woman is a gem. I don't like Sol Ruka. Like, I really don't. She's overrated, and she's a one-trick pony. I mean, she does a lot of athletic flips. Everybody does that. The entire roster of AAA can do the things that Sol Ruka can do, if not better. Kalani Jordan can do the things that Sol Ruka can do, if not better. They act like Sol Ruka's the only person who can do a handstand. They act like Sol Ruka's the only person who can do a backflip over the top rope. And they make a big deal of like, oh my God, Kalani Jordan does that shit on a regular basis. Fucking Mr. Iguana does that shit on a regular basis. And they only pushing Sol Ruka because she blonde and she does the Soul Snatcher. They're pushing her based off of one move. She has one move. And I don't like the Zara thing. Like, maybe I would like her a little bit more if Zara wasn't there, but the two of them as a package is just corny as hell. It's uninteresting. I don't like it. The match was kind of mid. Like it wasn't a spectacular match. And unfortunately, I mean, you knew at least one NXT person had to win. Bayley ended up doing the JOB, to Sol Ruka. She did kick out of the Soul Snatcher. Like Bayley got hit with the Soul Snatcher and she rolled out it. She no sold that shit like a G. But she lost to a roll up, and I'm like, it is what it is, because again, you are trying to push the next generation. I'm gonna say this though, if Sol Ruka getting pushed, like on this card, if this is a sign that she's gonna get brought up to the main roster, I'm okay with that, because honestly, once we get her off of NXT, we can actually focus on people I like. Like we can focus on Jada Parker, we can focus on Lola Vice. We can focus on Thea Hale. I like the Thea Hale's new character. We can focus on Carmen Petrovich. We can focus on her. We can focus on Tyra May Steele, Kalani Jordan. We can focus on other people. Get this girl off of NXT, because she's gonna be lost in the shuffle on the main roster for a while anyway, and she damn sure ain't beating no Jade Cargill. So yeah, that was it. Like it was a women's match. Sol Ruka got the victory. Like I said, it was really nothing really happened, nothing special, and we're moving on. And the future is now, thanks to science. No, the future is here, because the next match was the tag team match between AJ Styles, Dragon Lee, that boy Leon Slater, and Javon Evans. And this one you knew this was going to be high octane. You knew it was going to be high impact. There was crazy moves all over the place by all parties involved. There was a little bit of unfortunate. There was a botch. It was a botch that, kudos to Leon Slater, because towards the end of the match, AJ Styles, he went for the phenomenal forearm. And when he jumped up onto the top rope to do the phenomenal forearm, he slipped and he bust his ass. And when he slipped, kudos to Leon Slater, because Leon Slater didn't react to AJ Styles falling as to say like, ah, shit, he fucked up the spot. As soon as AJ fell, Leon Slater jumped on him immediately and went for a cover. And that's how you cover up a botch. Because when you do that, now it's kind of like, was that really a botch, or was that done on purpose? Was it part of the show? It's like, you don't know now. Like, we don't know what the actual, you would like to think it was a botch, but Slater covered that up perfectly. And, I appreciate that from them. And then they went into the finish where he ended up taking a Styles Clash. And then after he took a Styles Clash, the brothers, and it was like, it was odd, because when you look at the match, like AJ Styles was like the only white guy in the match. And I'm like, when was the last time you've seen a WWE wrestling match where the white person in the match was the minority and like everybody else was the majority? Dragon Lee coming out with hip hop music is still weird to me, but like I said, it's like, and the crazy shit about when they're just like, oh, this is the future of professional wrestling. Leon Slater doesn't even wrestle for WWE. He's a TNA superstar. He's the X Division champion. But that was good for TNA, because their X Division champion, got showcased, like at the show. He had his belt. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't deny that. So like I said, the future is now. Javon Evans takes another loss on the main roster, but he'll be fine. The boy 21. And no, they said it was good. Good. And then they saluted John Cena at the end, which was cool. So good. It was a nice showcase. It was a good showcase to show the future of the business. So it's like Obafemi, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, Leon Slater, like I said, Kalani Jordan, Sol Ruka, Lola Vice. Like these women, like these are the future. This is the future. So I have no problem with that being showcased. And I like the fact that they used Saturday night's main event to do that. I missed the Survivor Series when they did Survivor Series Raw versus SmackDown, and then one year Triple H snuck in the NXT wrestlers, and it was NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown in traditional Survivor Series matches. I actually missed that. Like, I liked that. I wish they would do that more often, so we can get more comfortable with these kids. So that's why when they do get called up, like, people actually do know who they are. But like I said, good match. Definitely entertained by all. And now we're moving on to the final match and the main event. But before that, I forgot, we did get an impromptu match where The Miz got in the ring bitching about how he wasn't a part of John Cena's farewell tour. And R-Truth showed up. When R-Truth came out, he actually had the ball in his hand, because when they were picking the people that could go up against John Cena for the final time, The Miz did the thing where he swapped out the ball that Nick Aldis had in his hand, and he replaced it with his own name. R-Truth got in the ring, and this was actually good. This is good storytelling. R-Truth said that the person whose name you swapped out is here tonight, and he wants to get his revenge for you removing him from the tournament. And when he opened the ball and saw the name of the person who he swapped out, it ended up being Joe Hendry. And I'm sorry, Joe Hendry's whole shtick doesn't work on the main roster for me. It's good for NXT. It's good for TNA. It doesn't work on the main roster because when Joe Hendry appears on the main roster, you realize how tiny this man really is compared to some of the people on the main roster. And it just comes more across as like a comedy act and not something that should be taken seriously. But that's it. But that was it. And then it was like an impromptu match where he choke slammed The Miz and then he got a 1-2-3 victory. Joe Hendry pinned The Miz on the main roster, which is kind of cool. Him and R-Truth did the pose. Like, it was nice. And like I said, now we're moving on to the final match with John Cena. The Ring General, Herr Gunther versus John Cena. I'm pretty sure a lot of us, we heard the rumors on the internet that they were going to do a bait and switch at the last minute where the Vision was going to beat the piss out of Gunther, and then Braun Breaker was going to take his place and he was going to wrestle John Cena in the final match, which honestly I would have been perfectly fine with if that would have happened, because if Braun Breaker would have beat up Gunther backstage and then took his place, in the final match, and then Braun Breaker was the one to defeat John Cena in the final match, it would then make a lot more sense for Braun Breaker to go to January 5th and defeat CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then go to WrestleMania and defeat Roman Reigns in WrestleMania to defend the World Heavyweight Championship. If we're talking about building new stars, I mean, that's how you build new stars. But they went with the story of, because, John Cena never quits, he never gives up, he never taps out, like he never surrenders. Gunther's whole thing was he was obsessed with making him surrender and making him tap out. And for the love of God, John Cena looked old in this match. Like, it was one of those things where I was watching it, and in my mind, I was like, thank God this is his final match, because he honestly, when John Cena came out of the back, and he was on the aisle, after he did his entire entrance with running to the ring, with being with Stu, with jumping in the ring, with letting the fans cheer for him, when he did the entire thing, he looked like he was ready to die. He looked out of gas. He looked blown up. He looked like he was done. Gunther hit him with like one clothesline, and John Cena's whole face turned red, and he looked like he was going to explode on the inside. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, put this man out of his misery. I laughed my ass off when they said that his final match was sponsored by Minute Maid. I don't know why that made me laugh. I was like, I don't know why it made me laugh, but it made me laugh. And then Gunther put the boots to him. Gunther wore him out. Gunther beat him down. Like, Gunther showcased why he is the ring general, and John Cena tried. The fans were chanting F you, Gunther. The fans were chanting Super Cena. All the things about John Cena that the fans hated, they embraced in this final moment. The fans were chanting like, you can do it, Super Cena, let's go Cena. They were chanting all that shit. And Gunther, as a professional wrestler, he went back to the well and he stuck with what worked. He didn't come off the top rope and do a Hurricanrana or a 450 splash or a dragon spiral. He just wore him down. He wrestled him down. He hit him with that sleeper hold. Whenever John Cena broke free, he hit him with another sleeper hold. Gunther, he kept elbowing him in the neck to wear him out. Like he worked on a particular body part, and he kept slapping on that sleeper hold. He kept putting on that sleeper hold. He kept, like grinching and gritting and grinding. He just wore John Cena out. And eventually John Cena did all the big stuff. He did the Avalanche AA, saying he did the You Can't See Me. He tried it again, and Gunther foiled it. Like, he tried. He really tried. He had one more gasp of like Super Cena energy, and it didn't work. It didn't work. And then finally, when John Cena had that final gasp of Super Cena energy, Gunther was like, nah, fuck that. He elbowed him some more, slapped on the sleeper, locked the legs in. John's face turned purple, and then for the first time in history, John Cena tapped out to Gunther, and I had to get up and applaud Gunther. I had to applaud both of them, but mostly Gunther. And this is the one time in life I'll ever give Michael Cole any praise. He said, on this night, professional wrestling beats sports entertainment, and I was like, thank God. Honor and prestige has once again been restored to professional wrestling. And it was the fans weren't happy. The fans booed, and this lets me know that the people who were involved, the people that watch this, even people online, people that are going to get mad at this, people that are going to get upset, people are going to say like, oh, it was dumb for Gunther to win, people that are going to say, oh, how could John Cena lose his final match? Though anyone who says that lets me know you've basically only been watching professional wrestling within like the last 5 years or so, because it has always been, and Triple H said this on the post show, it has always been wrestling tradition that when a wrestler, a superstar, a megastar, whoever, when it's your retirement match, when it's your last match, when it's your final match in professional wrestling, you're supposed to put somebody over on the way out. You're supposed to do the JOB to put over. In your retirement match, you're supposed to pass the torch to the next person. In professional wrestling, you're not supposed to win your retirement match. You are not. I think the only person who won his retirement match was The Undertaker. And I'm not even sure if it was legitimately his retirement match, because we're not counting the tag team match in Saudi Arabia. I believe The Undertaker's final match was against AJ Styles during the COVID. It was like the cinema match that they had at WrestleMania during the COVID era. And because of that, Undertaker beat AJ Styles. But Undertaker wasn't really supposed to be his retirement match. He had the match, he won the match, and then one day Taker woke up and was like, you know what, fuck it, I think I'm done. Like, he just decided that he was done. He didn't actually like have unless I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section. Maybe he wrestled Goldberg after that, but my point is, whatever Undertaker's last wrestling match was, I don't think he lost. But that's mostly because it wasn't supposed to be his retirement match. He just decided to retire. Ric Flair lost his retirement match. Kurt Angle lost his. Triple H didn't lose his retirement match, but that's only because he beat Batista. He beat Batista in Batista's retirement match, and then later on he found out he had a heart condition, and then he was forced to retire because of his heart condition. But it was just like, okay, you got the heart condition, you got to retire. So it's like, fuck it. The Batista match was my last match. So Triple H actually won his retirement match, but it wasn't supposed to be his retirement match. When Edge retired the first time, he beat Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania, and then he had to give up the belt like the next day. That was his retirement match, quote unquote, but it wasn't meant to be. So there are situations where you do win your retirement match, but it wasn't on purpose. Nobody's supposed to win their retirement match. So John Cena did the right thing. He did the right thing for the business. The fans booed Triple H out of the building. Like, they booed Triple H out of the building. They said, you fucked up. Fuck you, Hunter. Hunter sucks. Hunter addressed them afterwards. He was like, he thought the boos would be louder, but he was just like, he's going to do what's right for the business. I agree with his decision. Like, Cena should have lost. Like, and not only was it right for Cena to lose, I appreciate the fact that he finally tapped out. In his very last match, he gave up because the boy ain't got it no more. He's fucking old. He's old and he's tired. But with that being said, I salute you, John Cena. Like I said, I'm not going to act like, I wasn't entertained by him over the years. It's like he was never like once he turned babyface, like I wasn't a fan of his as much anymore. I like I got into other people, but I was still a fan of John Cena. When John Cena had matches, I was there. Like I watched, like I was entertained with what I saw. Like I can't take anything away from John Cena as a sports entertainer talent. That's why he's the greatest sports entertainer of all time, but he's not the greatest wrestler. He's not the greatest wrestler. So it's on to the next generation now. So starting January, bring up Trick Williams, bring up Oba, bring up Kalani, bring up Lola Vice, bring up Jada Parker, bring up, no, maybe not Javon Evans. He's still got time, but let's get the future rolling here. It's time. It's time. Like it's time. It's time for the new blood to come in, because like everybody in the War Games match was my age or older, and the old generation's time is up and the new generation's time is now. So for the final time, guys, thank you for tuning in. That was it. That was the review for Saturday night's main event, the John Cena farewell tour. And, like I said, we all salute him. We all say goodbye to him, and we all appreciate, John Cena, the man that brought us so much entertainment over the course of, these many years. So that was it. Thanks for tuning in as always. So until next time, I got Lara Croft Tomb Raider from Netflix up on my channel, so watch that as well. And I look forward to seeing you guys at the next wrestling pay-per-view, special event, and everything else in beyond. So again, until next time, here on Red Entertainment, signing off for the champ, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. We see you now and forever. Until then, we're out this bitch!